Good morning. Good morning, Deb. So it's super cold in here today. Uh, I did not. I was working on the windows downstairs, which was dumb. I should have fixed the windows up here yesterday because it got super cold and windy. So, hi, Sue. Happy May 9th. Today is my nephew's birthday, so that's kind of festive. Um, but yeah, so my husband taped a garbage bag up in the window, and those of you who've seen my studio, you'll recognize this little heater from there. So it's warm-ish in here, warm enough anyway. Um, but yeah, that's what I'm going to get done this weekend, so that we'll have all these things all set. Because winter apparently is coming on, so I got to be prepared. But now we have both panes of the windows out and are both sash pieces. Oh, your granddaughter's birthday also? Well, happy birthday to her. 18th birthday, that's a pretty big one. I think it might be my nephew's 17th, so I'll have to check that to be sure, but pretty close. So I don't know. My lettuces look okay outside. I don't know about everything else. I don't really have that much planted because I just haven't really been up for it this year yet. And it's just been cold and wet, and I keep waiting for things to turn, and then I think, well, I'll really go plant some stuff, but that has not happened. So I'll be interested to see. I did plant some seeds in milk jugs. Have you ever heard of doing that? So you are supposed to kind of plant them in the winter in an old milk jug that's kind of cut in half. You leave a bit of it so there's like a hinge, and you put the seeds in there in dirt and leave the lid off, put it out for the winter, and it just gets rained on and sun, and I guess it's good for people who are lazy like me and don't want to have to take care of and fuss with the plants too much. Also, there are certain types of seeds that need that freeze and thaw to break the seed coating. So some seeds that you may have had trouble getting to start inside, you'll have better luck with this. And I did have some things come up. Some things haven't come up at all yet, but I guess the idea is that the seeds will start to sprout when they're supposed to, instead of when you decide they should, which is what I always have a problem with starting seeds, because I always start them, I guess, too soon, so they end up really leggy. It's like too cold to put them out, but they're already growing up, and I don't really know what to do about that. So I don't always have the best luck with that. It's very, very hit or miss. You never know what the year's going to be like. So I definitely saw some of my Tulsi coming up. I put 3 bottles of Tulsi seed. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe I should have brought them in last night. I don't know. I didn't really think about it that much. So my garden is pretty much fend for yourself. That's my motto when it comes to gardening. Like, I'll put you there, but I can't guarantee what's going to happen after that. I might water you, but on the other hand, it might be a good idea to just hope that there's a lot of rain, because I'm not super reliable when it comes to tending the garden. I tend to lose interest after the first month or so, which I guess we all kind of do. And then it gets super hot, and you don't really want to be out there. So I don't know. Every year is different. I try not to think about it too much and just kind of see what I feel like doing that year. But I'm hoping I'll get plenty of Tulsi back just sprouting in the garden, which is what happened last year. So we'll see if I get some and you want Tulsi, we can arrange some kind of secret drop spot where I leave the plants and you can come and pick them up. See what happens. All right, well, let's get started here. Sitting up tall, doing some breathing. Notice any sensations that might arise in the body. Let's do a little bit of pranayama. So even breathing, which means we are trying to inhale for about as long as we exhale. Usually nobody has any trouble with the inhale. It's the exhale that gets a little short. So maybe a count of 4 or something like that. You can just kind of internally keep track of that yourself. But about as long as you're inhaling, we want to then exhale about that same amount. And then bringing hands to center, we'll do our Shanti Mantra. Inhale. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And then moving back. Move the heater a little bit. Okay, so comfortable seat, shoulders back. I think I need to adjust this a little bit. Everything got moved around. Okay, maybe not. All right, that might be okay. We'll see. So breathing, shoulders relaxed. One more breath, and then chin down to the chest. We'll start moving the head around. Big circle. One way, and then the other. Back to center, and then we're going to lean forward a little, moving around. One way and the other. And back up to your seat, arms wide. Deep breath in, exhale, hands together in the front. Inhale wide, and exhale. Inhale, and exhale. Interlace the fingers, lift the hands. We're gazing up, and then arms down by your side. Inhale, lift, and lower, lift, and lower, and one more, lifting up, and lowering down. Lift the shoulders, let's roll them back. And then forward. Arms up overhead, right arm by the side, reach across. Switch. And back up. Left hand on right knee, right arm behind you. Sit up tall, take a twist. Back to center and switch sides. And back to your center. Tabletop. Moving through cat-cow for a few breaths. And then sitting back, child's pose. Maybe rock a little bit side to side, loosening up through the hips. And then back up, tabletop to downward dog. Walk it out a little. And then stepping the feet up to the hands. We'll stay in a fold for a few breaths. Rising up. Standing tall in your mountain. Breath in and breath out. Inhale, lift up the arms. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, step back. Downward dog. Inhale, come on forward to high plank. And then we're lowering down. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lifting up. And fold. Inhale, lifting up either halfway or up to downward dog, or upward dog, and then downward dog. One more breath. And bend the knees a little. Walk your way up to the top. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift the arms. And back to mountain. Take a breath. I got to move this mat back. Moving that way. Inhale, lift the arms high. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, we're going to step back to downward dog. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale, halfway. Lower down. Another, either halfway or all the way up, upward dog. Back to downward dog. One more breath. Bend the knees, walk your way up. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Lifting the arms on the inhale. On the exhale, back to mountain. Take a breath. In and out. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, step the left foot back. Press down with both feet. Lift the arms. Warrior one. Hands down to the mat. And we're going to fold over the right leg. So we're kind of straightening it. So if you can't come all the way down, you might be up here. That's fine. We're just going to work on kind of straightening that knee as much as possible. And breathe. Bend into the knee again. Arms back up overhead. Let's bring the hands behind. Interlace the fingers, shoulders back. Take your deep breath, and then we're leaning forward. Keeping that right knee bent. Hands can stay at the waist, or you could lift them. And then come on back up. Arms overhead again. And move to warrior two. So right arm out in front, left arm behind. Shoulders relaxed. Right knee is still bent. On an inhale, we're straightening the right knee. Reach that right arm high. And then the right arm comes down as we lift the left. Working into triangle. And you don't have to be, down by the floor. You could be up here. Main thing is to have this open, right? You don't want to be leaning over here and crunching all up, trying to get there. Come on back up. And hands by your side. Turn the foot so we're facing side of the mat here. Hands at the waist or the hips. Take your breath. And then lean forward here. You can come kind of halfway. You can come further. It's really up to you. And then hands back, rising up. Take a breath here. And then we're going to turn to face the front of the mat. Step the back foot up. Mountain pose. Take a couple of breaths here. Find your stability in mountain. So you've got your feet are about hip width apart. Standing nice and tall. Maybe lift the shoulders, roll back. Two more breaths here. And then on the inhale, we're going to lift up. Arms high overhead. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, right foot steps back. Press down with both feet. Arms up overhead. Warrior one. Hands down to the mat or onto your leg, and we're going to fold forward, kind of straightening that right leg as much as we can. I'm sorry, left leg as much as we can. And then bend into the knee again. Rising up. Warrior one. Hands behind you. Shoulders back. Breath in and fold forward. Come on back up. Arms overhead. And then move to warrior two. Left arm is out, right arm behind. Relax and breathe. On your next inhale, we're straightening the left knee. Lift the left arm high. And then left arm lowers, right arm lifts. Back up. And then hands down. Turn the foot. So let's do some version with arms behind. You could grab opposite wrists. You could walk them up to grab the elbows. You can do prayer hands behind, which is a little tricky. Sometimes hard on the wrists. You could do upside down prayer hands, which most people find a little more accessible. Whichever one you choose, we'll take a deep breath and then lean forward. Just let the body kind of guide you with this. If you have the space, you can lean in, but if you get to the point where you're feeling stuck or tight, just hold, right? Don't go too far with this or any pose. So with yoga, we're kind of exploring our boundaries, but in a very safe way, in a very enjoyable way, right? I mean, you have that feeling when you get a nice stretch, when you feel like you need to move and you begin to move. That's what we're looking for. Something that we look forward to, that we enjoy, not dread. Now, does that mean you're going to love every pose? No, it does not. You're going to have ones that trouble you or just have something about them. Oh, come on, back up. You're talking. But that's okay, because those poses, they have something for you. They're here to show you something. So we do them. Like it or not, we just do them. So yeah, if you've got physical limitations, absolutely modify. If you have mental, if you have a mental issue with this particular pose, don't skip it. Don't modify. Do it. See what that brings up for you. There's probably something there that will help you maybe down the line, maybe with another pose, right? Sometimes some poses are sort of jumping off points for other poses. And there is a connection that we should be aware of. So we're back up. Oh, and we're just going to step to the front and back in mountain. And let's do some balance while we're talking so much today. Tree, standing on the left. Got that right foot in. wherever you can find the balance, as long as you aren't pressing against that side of the knee. So you may notice that there's a little bump right here, little bony part of the knee, at least on me there is. So anything above that, and sometimes that's where kind of my heel will sort of hang out. I just don't want to be pushing sideways on that joint. That's not going to work out well. And then set it down, switching sides. Keeping the focus, keeping your breath moving. And back down, bicycle legs. And let's step out into Warrior 3. So we've got hands together. Take a breath, stepping out left. We're leaning forward as we lift. Maybe airplane arms if you feel like it, or hands to center. See how it feels. Keep breathing. And then set your foot down. And let's switch sides. So now we're stepping out right and lifting up. So we're leaning forward as the leg lifts. If you fall out, just come on back up and try again if you want. Balance is, again, we're not taking it all that seriously. It changes from day to day. And it's certainly not something you want to get frustrated about. Set that foot down if you're not already there. Bicycle the legs. And then let's just bring the hands to the waist. And we're going to lift up the right leg. So we got the foot flexed, nice and strong. Steady gaze. And set the foot down. Switch sides. And foot comes down. Bicycle legs. So we're back onto the mat. Up at the top, arms overhead. Fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, we're stepping back to downward dog. On an inhale, come on forward to high plank. And then drop your knees, lower all the way down. Head turns right. Arms relaxed by your side. Maybe toes in, heels out. If that feels good. Head back to center. Setting up for Cobra, we've got hands about chest height, elbows back, close to the body, tops of the feet, press down. We're lifting up, head and chest, over the hands. And then lower down. Head turns left. Arms by your side. Back to center. Arms out in front. You'll have one forearm over top of the other. And we're going to set the forehead down onto the arms. So the forehead is sort of stuck to the arms. Legs extend, and then we're going to lift up, head and chest, and the arms together, and then lift the legs. And lower down. Head turns right again. And then back to your center. Arms by your side. Palms rest on the mat. And then we're going to lift up head and chest, arms together. Lift the legs. And lower. Head turns left again. Relax. And then we're working our way back up. Tabletop, the child's pose. And then tabletop to downward dog. Stepping your feet up. Come on down to a seat on the mat. And we've got soles of the feet together. Sitting up tall. Take a breath. And fold forward. Back up. Both feet out in front. Arms lift. Deep breath in. Fold forward. And coming back up. Let's bend the right knee, kind of hug it in. Sitting up tall. And then we're going to lower that knee out to the side. The foot can come right next to the thigh, or you can bring it up on top of the thigh, whatever is working for you today. Deep breath, and then leaning forward. Back up, and let's switch. Left knee hugs in. And then lowering it down or lifting the foot up. Take your breath in and reach forward. Back up. Both legs out in front. And we're going to bring the legs wide on the mat. Sitting up tall here. And then you could walk the hands out. You kind of lean forward. Or you could bring them out onto the legs. Whatever works for you. Oh, again, we're just kind of easing into this pose. Find what works. Back up. Let's bring the legs a little closer. And we're going to bend the right knee. Soles of the foot right up next to the thigh. And then we're going to turn the body. So instead of facing forward, we're facing over this left leg. Arms overhead for a deep breath. And then we're just folding forward, reaching for the foot or the leg, whatever you can reach here, and fold over. Walk the hands back up, switch sides. And we're turning to face this right leg, arms overhead, fold forward. And back up. Both legs out in front. Another fold. Breath in and out. Moving back up. We're going to bend the knees. soles of the feet to the mat. Give yourself some room behind to either lower down or rock back. And then just get comfortable here. You might have the knees in to the chest still. You rock a little side to side. Maybe drawing some circles with the knees. Going one direction and then reversing, moving the opposite way. And then set the feet down onto the mat. Take a couple of breaths. And then let's hug the right knee into the chest. Left leg is long on the mat. We're going to start lowering that right knee out to the side. And then coming back to center, we're going to draw it across the body. So we're rolling up on that left hip. Back to center. Hug the knee in again. And then switch sides. Lowering that knee out to the side. Keeping the rest of you flat on the mat. And then bringing that knee to center, we're going to draw it across the body. So we're rolling up on the right hip. And we're keeping the shoulders on the mat as much as possible. If they come up some, that's okay. Right? We're just trying to make a little twist here, a little stretch. And then back to center. Extend both legs long. Take a few breaths. And the knees. We're going to get ready for bridge. So heels back close to the body. Hands by your side. Palms resting on the mat. And then we're going to be pressing down hands and feet, lifting up the hips. If you want to interlace the fingers underneath, you can. Or you can just keep the hands resting on the mat. And then lower. Bring the soles of the feet together, knees apart. Relax. Maybe we'll bring the arms up over the head. If you like how that feels. And then bring the knees together and into the chest. Rock again, side to side. And then we're going to extend the legs straight up. Soles of the feet press up toward the sky. And when you're ready, lowering one leg at a time or both together, just making your way down. And then finding a place for Shavasana. Getting your breath steady. Keeping everything moving through the body. You may feel places where the breath almost gets stuck, right? See if you can relax a little more. Usually that's, because we're holding some tension. Notice the sensations in the body, the sounds in the room. Keeping that light attention. So we're not focusing on anything deeply. We're just noticing generally what's going on. If you find your thoughts are getting complicated, right? You're sort of getting drawn into some thought or something in your mind is getting active again. Just move on to something else. Consider another part of the body or the sensation of being on your mat. So much of what we do with our minds is unnecessary activity, let's say. Now, your mind, there's nothing wrong with what happens, right? Your mind is always thinking. There's always thoughts being generated. But the problem is that we get caught up in them. We start giving them a great deal more attention than they deserve. So I think of my mind as a toddler who's endlessly interested in something, but for only like 5 minutes, and then it's on to the next thing, or maybe even 1 minute. And if you've ever had a conversation with a toddler, you'll know that it's exhausting, right? They ask 12,000 questions and they're constantly changing subjects, and you're like, what? Wait, what? We're not okay. So um, that's kind of like how your mind is operating all the time. That's its job, right? Its job is to observe, to take all of that information and try to make sense of it, to analyze it, to move it around. And it does it at, a split microsecond. It happens so fast, which is great. I mean, this is what your mind is for. But we try to keep up with that, right? We try to follow every one of those thoughts off down its rabbit hole. And again, it's hard to sometimes differentiate between an important thought and just a random thought. So we want to look at them all kind of, I don't want to say suspiciously, that's not what I mean, but we want to weigh them, right? Is this important? Is this of value? Will this help me? Sometimes we're not entirely sure, but a lot of times we know, right? But again, we may not choose to hold those thoughts. We may be drawn to the other thoughts, the negative thoughts, the mean thoughts, the unkind parts. Again, that's a choice. Right? We can choose not to pay attention to those things. We know they're there, right? We all have mean thoughts. We all have mean, that's just kind of what happens, right? But we don't have to follow them. We can let them go. We can move toward the positive, toward the things that help us, support us. And it's a constant, weighing and evaluating. But I would say, for a rule of thumb, probably you don't need about 90% of your thoughts. They're just noise. So don't pay attention to them. Just let it go. If it is important, and I do believe this, it will come back again and again and again. So you'll have many opportunities to deal with whatever it is that's knocking on your door. But don't answer it for because honestly, most of it is just people trying to sell you stuff. Okay, moving now. Fingers and toes, hands and feet. Coming back into movement in the body. And then making your way up to a seat, however you want to get there. We'll bring hands together. Deep breath in and out. Thank you for taking time for yoga today and for sharing it with me. I hope you have a great Saturday and a lovely Mother's Day. And I will be back here on Monday. Namaste. Thank you all for coming. I realize that I keep asking, like, hey, does anyone have a comment or something? And then it seems like right after I turn it off, somebody has said something. So there's obviously a little delay here that I'm not aware of. So I'm going to ask that. Does anyone have any questions or any issues or anything that they want to bring up? in the chat, except for Dave, who said namaste. Thank you for coming, Deb. And I won't. I'm going to wait just a little bit before I sign off in case there is anybody. So I hope you all have a nice Mother's Day. Call your mom. Tell your kids to call you. Have a video chat. If you can't see each other in real life, we do have a lot of. Thank you, Linda. Happy Mother's Day to you. We have a lot of other technology this year, which is pretty great. So enjoy. Thank you, Rachel. Happy Mother's Day to you too. Usually Mother's Day is like the day that we start planting or doing things outdoors, but I don't think this year. So maybe next week sometime. All right, I'm going to go. Thank you all.